But what would that matter that he messed up by a year? Like, that's distinct. If he came up and said, I ran against Benito Mussolini in 2020, and then I would be like, okay, that might be a distinct problem, but he gets a year wrong? I got a year wrong in a video yesterday. You're saying that a guy that defrauded a children's cancer charity, that defrauded people at the Trump University, that couldn't sell water, that couldn't sell steak, that tried to sell cheap knockoff shoes, NFTs, and whatever else. A guy that violently essayed Jean Carroll and was found to have had 2 judgments against him in court, 50 years of persistent fraud, 7 of which he had to pay back to the state of New York, 34 felony counts, 30 essay allegations. You're telling me that somehow that's comparable.
Hello, Jason.
What's going on, Jason?
Nothing much. What's going on with you guys? I just wanted to come on here. I wanted to see, obviously I'm voting for Trump. I'm a Trump supporter, but I wanted to get like your guys' take. Like, why do you support, like, why are you voting for Biden?
Policy distinctions.
Yeah.
Temperament, the fact that he doesn't have felonies on his record.
I like my president to not rape women.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of
the United States economy was better under him, though, right?
I would take a recession over a felony.
I mean, listen, the economy is not going to matter if Donald Trump successfully overthrows the United States government. So, but here's the thing. In terms of all of the metrics, the economy is doing well. Prices are still high, but at least in terms of metrics, the economy is strong. So we have to deal with inflation. We knew that was coming under the Trump administration, and this is what it is. But when you look at policy, Donald Trump has absolutely no idea how to solve inflation. In fact, no one does. That's why it's a global issue right now. He has no policy positions other than becoming president to try and stop himself from going to jail for the rest of his life.
I mean, I would still argue, like, yes, obviously Joe Biden stepped into office at a more difficult time than Donald Trump did. But I mean, I think Donald Trump did a lot more for the country. He still kept inflation below 2%. He didn't create any new wars.
Well, so did
interest rates were close to nothing.
He did. Sorry, what was the last one?
I said interest rates were close to nothing.
Yeah,
less than 2%.
That's Jerome Powell. That's a Trump appointee. Jerome Powell lifted them. That's a Trump appointee. So Donald Trump did not do a lot for the country. He just sort of coasted off the Obama economy. In fact, some of the things he did made it worse. He doesn't have a plan.
What's he running on now to make it better?
What's he running on now to make it better?
Yeah, the state of the economy better.
Yeah, how is he gonna, for example, how is he gonna tackle like housing prices? Because Joe Biden has an explicit plan on that. How does Trump want to like lower housing inflation?
I don't know. I mean, I think he's a better. I just think he's a better businessman. And I think when it comes to running the United States, I think he might not have the experience that Joe Biden does.
I just want to point this out because this is important. It was proven in court that he operated his business off of false practices, like fraudulent practices, for over 50 years. Is that really the guy that we want running the country?
Yes.
I mean, or is it the guy that can't walk up the stairs or can't can't even stand on his own 2 feet?
Are you saying that a guy that can't walk is inherently a worse president than someone that's committed persistent fraud for 50 years?
I'm saying he's physically and mentally unstable to do anything.
Did he not say that he was running against? So you understand? we can get to the great guy, but I just want to point this out. Like, you're saying that he's mentally competent. You are aware that Donald Trump believes that he ran against Barack Obama in 2020 and that he thinks Barack Obama is going to get us into World War II. He thinks John Deere.
Joe Biden said he was vice president in 2020.
And?
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, I know which quote you're referring to. It's taken out of context.
But what would that matter that he messed up by a year? Like, that's distinct. If he came up and said, I ran against Benito Mussolini in 2020, and then I would be like, okay, that might be a distinct problem, but he gets a year wrong? I got a year wrong in a video yesterday.
I realize that. I'm just saying he's.
So you're genuinely saying that someone. I just want to, and then I'll let you guys have it. I just want to reiterate. You're saying that a guy that defrauded a children's cancer charity, that defrauded people at the Trump University, that couldn't sell water, that couldn't sell steak, that tried to sell cheap knockoff shoes, NFTs, and whatever else. A guy that violently essayed Jean Carroll and was found to have had 2 judgments against him in court, 50 years of persistent fraud, 7 of which he had to pay back to the state of New York, 34 felony counts, 30 essay allegations. You're telling me that somehow that's comparable to someone not being able to walk. Because there are a lot of people that can walk. And on top of that, Donald Trump very clearly is in the middle of like rapid onset dementia.
How?
Because he's not making any
cites
sense.
the late great actor Hannibal Lecter. He said that windmills kill whales. He said that children are invading our schools. He twice said that Nikki Haley was in charge of Jan 6 and that he ran against Barack Obama and that he can nuke hurricanes. So
I mean, for each one of those, I could bring up a Joe Biden example of him not finding his way off stage and stuttering.
Okay, let's talk about actual policy when it comes to deficiencies, right? If we're talking about mental deficiencies, did any perceived mental deficiencies of Joe Biden stop him from negotiating and signing the CHIPS Act?
No.
All right, what about the infrastructure bill?
No.
fact,
I mean,
why isn't-
I still don't necessarily.
Why aren't his
agree with
policies
policy.
more out there like that? Like, why isn't he proposing free pony day or something if he was that out of it and that senile?
Well, because the president of the United States is just the face we blame. It's really the people that we're
Right.
electing.
He's got executive power. He could be doing all sorts of random, weird, bizarre shit with a stroke of a pen. Like, I don't know.
I realize that, but we're
within his
also
administration.
the
But that's not
president is just the
happening.
face that we blame. We're really just electing an entire congressional party to take over office and to appoint
I
into
know
power.
you're missing the point that I'm making. If he was as senile as you make him out to be, surely his executive decisions would be wild and unpredictable.
Hey guys, if you are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And if you want to support the channel, you guys can become a YouTube member on this channel, or preferably join the Patreon in the link tree in the bio. Also in the link tree is my TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and the OK Hi YouTube, which I post news to on a regular basis. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yep.
Right?
Not necessarily. Like, it's not him that's just making all the decisions. So no.
Executive power gives him that authority. He can declare any random holiday. He can pardon the most criminal of offenses. He can do anything within that capacity. He's not.
All right, I feel like we're getting a little bit off topic, but
We're talking about his cognitive state and ability.
I
Why
realize
isn't
that.
it as bad as you guys make it out to be? You guys
I
point to
realize.
3-second clips of him not knowing where to go, which happens to every president, really. There's clips of Donald Trump not knowing where to find his limo or finding his wife who's standing right behind him. Melania wishes she could be here. She's 3 feet fucking behind him.
Melania really wanted to be with us. It's really touched her heart what's gone on. And
I would just think that if somebody was Mr. Magooing the executive office here, we'd be seeing all sorts of crazier things being passed, all sorts of crazier people being pardoned, all sorts of crazy announcements and things like that. But we're not. So even if Biden did have early onset dementia or whatever you want to diagnose him improperly as, what he's gotten done is pretty impressive. CHIPS Act.
Like all the taxpayer
Back-
money that we're sending to Ukraine, that's
Yeah,
not
you don't
going
you don't
into
cut,
the United
you
States
don't support
economy.
you don't support cutting the military budget, so I don't want to hear it anyways. Yeah, this is money that we allocate for a cause that now we're kicking Russia's ass for. I do think that's impressive that he can single-handedly bring down the Russian army with dementia at 81 years old. And I'll take Biden at 81 than Donald Trump at 34.
All right, well, we will see in November.
I'm sure.
What doesn't address what we're saying? Like, you're just
No.
saying, I'm going to vote for him in spite of everything that you've said that's awful about the dude.
I'm
Can you
going
tell
to
me,
vote
like,
for Donald
three
Trump
things?
because during his presidency, the United States economy was in a much better shape
Okay,
in
the
terms
economy
of
was
better
inflation,
under
in terms of
the-
interest rates, in terms of
Oh, how did that
price
go?
of
How did that
gas,
go
the
during
price of
COVID?
energy.
That he cost. Listen. I want you to listen really quickly. Donald Trump
Yes.
brokered the OPEC Plus deal. Donald Trump cut oil production by 10 million barrels for 2 years. Donald Trump put in Jerome Powell, who is the same guy that lifted the interest rates. Donald Trump,
Yes, because we needed to
literally did
lower inflation
detrimental.
was 9%. Interest rates
Donald
had to
Trump
be
that Joe Biden has nothing to do with, that Donald Trump knew was coming, that was warned was coming, and did nothing.
Joe Biden printed millions and trillions of dollars.
Donald Trump printed Donald Trump printed over 2 times as much money as Joe Biden did.
That's part of a cause of inflation.
Added 8 trillion.
If
to the
it
deficit.
is, then Donald Trump, if it is, which I don't even agree with you, but if it does cause inflation, as you say, Donald Trump gave up $5.8 trillion in deficit spending during his administration. Joe Biden is about 2.9 or something.
Well, you may go.
None of this I don't even know what to say. None of this has anything to do with Joe Biden. Inflation doesn't have to do with Joe Biden. Otherwise, how do you cause inflation in I don't know, Switzerland? How do you cause inflation there? There is inflation throughout Europe. It's not his fault. It sucks. It's not his fault. It's a cheap blame. Nobody's blaming Trump. If we're just going to blame people for stuff that happened during their presidency, Trump should be responsible for COVID, right? Trump should be responsible for 1.5 million people. 18 million people permanently disabled. Like that's
1.5 million.
I think it's like
out of
double the
workforce.
amount when Joe Biden stepped in office.
Yeah, because of
no, it was all, most of it was done under Donald Trump.
Most of the people that
Most
got
of the
sick
rhetoric, the
and
base
died
that was
from
given?
the COVID-19 is because was when Joe Biden stepped in office.
Who were those people? They were Trump supporters. There are endless studies on this. It was Trump supporters. 2 times more likely, over 65% of the people that died of COVID, Republicans.
So that's
2 to 1.
That's still United States citizens.
Right.
What does that have to do with what does it
Who
matter
gave
if they're
them false
Democratic or
information?
Republican?
It has to do because Donald Trump promoted nutso people on this. I don't want to get into it, but if you're going to say that he's responsible for this, COVID emerged during the Trump presidency, so why isn't he responsible for it? Because I can guarantee you, if Donald Trump does somehow miraculously win, little felon Trumpy, if he does somehow win, then you're not going to blame him for inflation, period. And you won't even blame him for oil right now, despite the fact that that's his fault. We're producing more oil than we ever have, than any country in human history. We have the lowest unemployment that we've had in over 40 years. We have more month-over-month job growth since the 1960s. We have energy independence is at a 70-year high. All of the things that you say and claim that are good, like under Joe Biden, has gotten better. And I don't even give Joe Biden credit for those things.
Growth, can you show me the stat that it's new jobs created and not just people returning to work after COVID?
He has added jobs every single month. We got back down to Donald Trump's unemployment over a year ago, and there has been continued to add every single month.
I guarantee you that a majority of those
also
jobs that
worker pay has gone up. Nope, worker pay has gone up under Joe Biden too.
Low income jobs that people need to work to.
Nope, worker pay has gone. That's the same thing under Trump. You guys aren't making that distinction under Donald Trump. But do you think those are like middle class jobs that are being created under Donald Trump? When you're going, oh, look at the economy, 3.5% unemployment. Oh, how many of those are low? No, you never did that. You're just trying to find it out so you can say that Joe Biden did a job. And that's not the case. You have inflation that you can point at him, and you don't even know why he caused it or how he caused it. And if you think that the things that he did that caused it, which was printing money, then you have to blame Trump even more because Trump printed more.
Well, I mean, it was also part of the fact that he's putting trillions of dollars into clean energy and just other funding for the country that I don't think is...
That's infrastructure. Infrastructure spending is some of the best benefit on economic growth out of everything.